Marty, I'm back. You're back.
Yeah.
We're back.
Welcome back. Yeah.
We were doing something that was largely frowned upon at this point in time, and I don't know how far this is going to spread. In fact, this is just my little secret to you guys and everyone in the audience. This is a green screen. I'm just doing this from a remote location. I'm out in the woods right now, as you can see. I'm doing the bad guy thing apparently, because no, I'm just kidding. Obviously, I'm in my studio, but what's going on in Canada? It's like we're going right back to COVID-19, but it's the new thing.
Actually, it is. Well, no, to me, what's going on right now, we'll get into the details of it. Well, let's talk about what's going on. I think most people know, right? It's summer in Canada, and forest fires are a thing in summer. 2-3 years ago, you guys were the center of attention, big fires in BC, right? And then 2 years ago, it was us, Alberta. And then earlier this summer, it was Manitoba. And now, I swear to God, they're focused on Nova Scotia and New Brunswick and a little bit in Newfoundland. So, it goes around. Like, the media needs something to talk about. Forest fires are great. Like they always talk about forest fires. They love it. It gets attention, right? The dramatic pictures of, but aside from that, I think New Brunswick right now has set a whole new level of using a crisis to break the law and trample people's rights.
Nova Scotia.
Sorry, Nova Scotia.
As well.
Yeah. It started in Nova Scotia. You're right. Nova Scotia went full total, and I'm from Alberta. I can't speak for you guys, but for us, it's regular to have fire bans. Fire bans, I'm okay with.
All the time.
I understand fire bans, it's a little dry out there, and they'll say to us like, hey, sorry, you're going camping this weekend, but don't make fires, or they'll put some bans, but they don't restrict us from going out there. They just restrict one simple activity, which makes sense. Nova Scotia.
Yeah, no, it totally did. So I just got back. I just got back from camping, and we went to Cultus Lake. It's beautiful there. It's fantastic. As soon as you roll in, fire bans. It's so normal for British Columbians to see this, and we every family has one of those little propane fire pits. Like every family has one. Everything's propane. I feel like something out of King of the Hill. I love cooking with charcoal. That's the big thing, but I always check ahead of time. Am I allowed to right now? But nobody's banning anybody from entering the woods or going camping otherwise. This is where it's getting ridiculous. And I have a clip right here. Here's what's his name? Tim the premier. Anyway, let's get into this.
We are restricting travel and activities that really aren't necessary for most of us. Hiking, camping, fishing, and the use of vehicles in the woods are not permitted. The fine for violating any of these bans is the same as the fine for the ban on burning, $25,000.
So I'm sorry, but who's the judge of what is necessary and what is unnecessary, right? Like,
well, it's the same
language things that we do in life that are necessary or unnecessary. Listening to politicians could largely be unnecessary.
They're prepping us, Clyde, right? They're prepping us. I mean, remember during COVID, they used the term essential, non-essential. So that was just like language. Politicians use language. They introduce different words. Not just politicians, advertisers do it. Whatever. I mean, they introduce words and then they try to normalize words and ideas. So, non-essential, what did he say? He didn't say non-essential in this case. Unnecessary. Yeah. Do you need 6 pairs of shoes? I could argue that it's unnecessary to have more than one, but they use words like that. So he defined unnecessary, but it's completely over the top. I mean, in Nova Scotia, you cannot go in the woods. If you went camping in Nova Scotia, what you did this weekend, they banned it. Not just the fires. They said, no, you can't drive in the woods. You can't hike in the woods. Clyde, walking in the woods, man. I've been walking in the woods my whole life. I don't remember ever my feet rubbing off the rocks aren't sending sparks that are starting fires. My thighs rubbing together, my wind jacket is not creating static electricity that's igniting fires. Like I don't, but yeah.
Well, in fact, if you get caught out in the woods one day, try it. And and try to light a fire.
Yeah,
if you don't have the know-how to do that, I challenge anybody to go out there and do that. It's crazy. It's hard to do. And yeah, we have all these, modern conveniences, lighters and all these different apparatus to get a fire started. But yeah, no, it's not easy.
No, so to me, I mean, to me, this is overreach. It's overreach. Like I get it. It's Tinder dry, but it's overreach. And then the bigger question to me becomes, why is a government like Nova Scotia overreaching so hard? Like, why are they overreaching and going to this extreme? And they're not the only ones, right? I mean, basically, New Brunswick followed suit right away. Newfoundland tried, but people pushed back in Newfoundland. And today, the premier of Newfoundland had a press conference, said, we're going to do fire bans, but we can't go. He almost sounded disappointed. We can't go as far as Nova Scotia. I wish we could have locked you down. Which, by the way, that's my theory. When we say, why are they overreaching? Man, it's similar to COVID, right? They did this in COVID, and then during COVID, they realized, we can get away with a lot of things, right? They're rejuvenating this. They're going to rejuvenate the Great Reset and all these other things. I mean, locking us down is a practice for I'm sure we sound like a broken record, but it's a practice for 15-minute cities and other UN initiatives. Like I think, honestly, I changed my Twitter profile. I think climate lockdowns are coming. We had COVID lockdowns, and I think they're gonna start using climate as an excuse to lock us down, take away our cars, keep us out of the parks, shove us in small cities, fine us, and do more.
Yeah, well, it was Justin Trudeau, I think I have it here, where he's going to use the things that we learned from COVID. We're going to use this for climate change.
From this COVID crisis,
yeah,
we will be applying to the climate crisis, to the housing crisis, to reconciliation, to making sure that everyone has good jobs and careers that carry them through and create opportunities for their kids.
Yeah, that's what they plan to do. And this is what's scary. It's the ever shifting goalposts, because at first they're telling us you can't go in the woods because you're going to cause a fire. And now it's like, well, actually, we don't want you to get hurt if you go into the woods, because if you get hurt, then you're going to take away resources from other things.
Warn the viewers. This is peak insanity. This is the premier of New Brunswick. This is peak insanity.
Absolutely.
A walk in the woods is going to cause a fire. I can understand why people think that's ridiculous. But the reality is, it's not that you might cause a fire. It's that if you're out there walking in the woods and you break your leg, we're not going to come and get you, because we have emergency responders that are out focused on a fire that is threatening the lives of New Brunswickers. And if you take your boat out fishing in a pond in Crown Land and you capsize, we're not going to be able to come and help you out, because our first responders are focused on an immediate and serious threat to our province. And so it's the possibility of diverting emergency resources away from where they are really needed.
So this is actually really close, Marty. She's almost close enough to our position. Don't rely on the freaking government.
Right.
Don't rely on the freaking government for all these things. You want to get insurance? Perhaps we should have alternative versions of these search and rescue teams. Perhaps we should have private entities that take care of this stuff, because the government's so bad at it and they can't do anything because there's resources going to all these other things.
I offered that during COVID because they used the same excuse during COVID, right? That was why they did some of the lockdowns in COVID. We can't let you run the risk of getting sick, because if you're sick because of some other activity, you're endangering grandma and grandpa in the hospital. It's the same language. And during COVID, first of all, that's not my responsibility. Second of all, I'm paying taxes. You should be able, like, you're triaging one group over another group, and lastly, yes, to your point, I'll sign a waiver, man. I'll go to the woods and you don't need to come rescue me. I'll sign the waiver, but I'll go one step further. I'll stop paying taxes for the services, because apparently I'm paying taxes for firefighting, but I don't pay taxes for somebody to come save me if I have an accident while I'm in the woods. Like, they're contradicting themselves, and she's showing flaws, massive flaws in the whole system when she talks like that. Like, we can't afford to do both. Okay, that's great. If you can't afford to do both, then admit it. But then next week they'll go right back to saying, oh no, we can do both. We just need more taxes and we need more. Yeah. No. Do you have the clip? Do you have the clip of? Nah, we don't need to play the Newfoundland premiere. I mean, the Newfoundland premiere.
Well, you explained it right there. The clip is basically, I don't have it queued up.
Yeah.
I could get it queued up, but he essentially says we've just increased the fine amount for lighting fires in the woods.
Yeah.
To this amount in fire ban areas, and they went from $75 to $50,000 for unauthorized fire, and that's different, right? So it's over the top and it's crazy, but it's actually going after people who are going against the fire bans.
But did you see did you see, I think it was Table Salt actually, or somebody found a page out of the budget out of Newfoundland. Like Newfoundland's budget for firefighting is like $734,000. Like, it's like, what? So somebody did the math. It's like, all you need is to issue whatever 28 fines and you'll double your firefighting budget. Like,
oh, you think that's gonna go into the firefighting? Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
Oh, that goes right into general revenue. Yeah. Oh man, no, that's gonna get spent on some crony operation.
But it was a good point. But they pointed out something interesting, right? I mean, the fines are enormous, and the fines, by the way, they're not laws. We're back to again, we did not learn our lesson. Some people learned their lessons. Okay, some people there's a little more resistance to this. Obviously, Newfoundland's resisting. Like Nova Scotia, I'm sorry, folks, if you're from Nova Scotia watching today, you guys didn't learn anything from COVID. If you're letting your premier do this, you didn't learn anything. New Brunswick, you didn't learn much either, but you learned a little more. Newfoundland, congratulations. I would say the premier of Newfoundland blinked, because he got enough pressure that he realized I can't do this, but he still increased the fines. But people, generally speaking, if we let this happen, I'd say a lot of people didn't learn their lesson, including conservatives of every stripe. I mean, some of the commentators in Ontario this week doing mental gymnastics to justify what Nova Scotia is doing. Like, if you're 100% behind what Nova Scotia is doing, you didn't learn a single thing during COVID.
Well, and that's what I had to point out to people. Said, just a reminder that the guy who just banned hiking, camping, fishing, and travel in the woods, enforceable with a $25,000 fine, is a conservative.
Right.
And people are, wow, he's a progressive conservative. He's as conservative as it gets for Nova Scotia. That is where it's at. Where have we heard anything from the federal conservatives at all on this issue? It is a rights issue. This is a rights issue, and the federal government does have a jurisdiction when it comes to how the provinces are treating their own people. They can step in, intervene, and say, "Hey, no, you can't. We have a charter, don't we? Don't we have a charter?" I mean,
actually, you bring up a great point, Clyde. No, I haven't heard any conservative. I mean, we're not hearing conservatives or too many MPs because they're in recess right now, but this is a good one. Pierre should have brought up something about this, right? Like mentioning that it's an example of overreach. Yeah, what a great opportunity missed again. This is overreach. I mean,
again. Yeah. So this is the thing. Like, a lot of people asking me, "Oh, hey, did Pierre say anything about this? Did Pierre say anything? Has he made any public statements?" Of course, no. This is another case of sitting back and watching it happen. He's talking about other things. He's commenting about the Chinese tariffs. He's talking about all these other things. We can get into those stories here, but it reminded me of my favorite part of the election last go around, when he threw shade at Americans, not Donald Trump, but Americans, for the thing that he's actually doing right now. And here's the clip. Oh, I gotta cue it up. Here we go. Here's the clip.
As Winston Churchill said, though, you can always count on the Americans to do the right thing after exhausting all other possibilities.
After exhausting all other possibility, where is he on this one? It's just insane.
Ouch.
Yeah. Oh, how ouch indeed.
Self-goal, like ouch. Yeah.
Yeah, ouch indeed. And that was the moment this American was very curious. Okay, well, when are you gonna, do something except exhausting all those other things? I wrote at the time on Twitter because I was getting frustrated with this. This is when I thought Pierre was going to win. Honestly, I said I think Pierre Poilievre's government is going to be exhausting. It seems like he's just behind the curve on a lot of issues that needs a nudging to get on the right page nearly every step of the way. Parental rights, no show until there was backlash. Team Canada, retaliatory tariffs until there was backlash, and then he pivoted to borders and fentanyl. Seems like he ends up right. he ends up in the right spot, but only after he's pushed. And it's gonna, just like all Canadians will have to set aside time every week to make sure that he's on the right path. It's just, it's too much. And I think this is largely why he probably didn't get the PM position. Carney came in, swooped in, and stole his thunder from a lot of people that are, well, let's just be honest, brainwashed by the CBC.
It's going to be interesting. So the by-election is on the 18th. What's today? It must be Monday, right? Monday's the by-election. Yeah, Monday's the by-election. Actually, we should do a special show on Monday and cover the by-election. But I think he's going. I think he's going to show poorly in the by-election. He's going to win. I think Pierre's going to win, but I think he's going to show poorly. And the guy he's replacing, the guy who gave up his seat, won the riding with 82% of the popular vote as a conservative. And I think if Pierre gets anything less than 82%, and I'm going to guess he's going to hit like a 60 or 70%, it's going to be a bit of a loss for him. So it's going to be interesting on Monday.
So this is, but as you're pointing out, this is a perfect opportunity to get in and talk about the Charter of Rights and Freedoms in our country, which a lot of people are denigrating to, the status of not being worth the paper that it's written on. Here's, I got this from Twitter, a great post on this one. Canadian Charter of Discretionary Privileges. Whereas, Canada is founded upon principles that recognize the supremacy of government and the deferral to technocracy. This is a perfect example of what's actually happening. But here's where I think the charter went completely wrong. So the guarantee of rights and freedoms, Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, it guarantees the rights and freedoms set out in it's subject only to such reasonable limits prescribed by law and can be demonstrably justified in a free and democratic society. This isn't a document that says you have inalienable rights. This is a document that's basically telling you that you're a subject. You have privileges in this society until we decide what those limits are.
Our charter starts with Section 1 and ends with Section 33, and both are like bookends that are bad. The starting one, that starting bookend says everything you're about to read has limits. Okay, bad enough. And then when you read through the whole charter, and then there's Section 33 at the end that says, oh, by the way, we're adding this notwithstanding clause. So even though everything you're about to read has limits, if we really want to, we can, in the name of safety and for your safety, we can notwithstand, and meaning we can ignore the charter. Like the charter has a section that says you can ignore it, which is why the language they use is so important, right? They're using. By the way, actually, you just brought up a point. Let's get pragmatic about this. Let's go back to bring up that chart that's at the top of my timeline, because now you're reminding me of something I really wanted to talk about, right? Bring up that chart that shows the number of forest fires over the years, that red bar graph. Yeah, look at that. Okay. So
what are we looking at here?
So this is put out by CIFFC as the Center for Provincial Forest Fires. So this is a group and a separate entity from the government that just monitors all the forest fires in Canada. So this graph shows the annual number of forest fires in Canada every year for the last 40 years. So I added the black arrow, but it's trending down, right?
That's
the number of forest fires year after year keeps going down.
Yeah, that's clear by this graph.
Oh, I'm glitching a little bit. I might be getting a lightning strike here. Okay.
Yeah, you're in a storm right now. Okay.
So they keep using language like it's for your safety. Fires are out of control. Blah 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 blah. No, the number of forest fires every year has been trending down. So so if there's and that's despite the fact that we have more people and more population, more recreation, and the number of forest fires is going down. Now go to the graph just a little bit beneath the next one after that.
Okay.
So now
and
this is the area that's burned every year. And the area of the volume that was burned every year was slightly increasing. And then all of a sudden after COVID was a great crisis. There was almost no fires during COVID and nothing burned. And then after COVID, boom, look at the fires. Look at the size of the fires. So there's less fires, but they're so poorly managed and there's so few resources being allocated to fight the fires. It's almost like they're letting them burn. And we know they are because that's what happened in Jasper and places like that. So this is context. They're prepping us for something. They're prepping us for climate emergencies, and it wasn't happening, but they're forcing it. They're forcing the fires. They're letting them burn, and now they're using language. They're using the excuse to lock us down, to keep us out of the area. There's no other explanation. It's like if the only other explanation is that they're completely incompetent and they have to hide their incompetence. That's the only other explanation.
Well, they're doing that on trade, and that's another thing we can get into after this. But I think you're absolutely right. And what they're doing is they're using the same type of propaganda techniques that they did during COVID to push this narrative and push it on people rudely, I might add. Here's an article from the Globe and Mail titled, "The people opposing Nova Scotia's ban on access to the woods don't understand our culture." So we just don't understand Canadian culture. And Ryan Garrettson putting it out there, the culture of blind compliance. What is this nonsense? What is this nonsense? Now, I know a lot of people in our audience, people that follow us, they don't buy into this stuff. And it's totally foreign. But the amount of people that I'm seeing that are coming out and railing against the idea of just, I don't know, wanting to have guaranteed rights. Yeah, I don't need to go out in the woods, but I have the right to go out in the woods. And if the government can't stop me from doing that, that's essentially what's going on. Check out this rant from another one of the usual suspects, Scott Reed, where he just flips out about people who just want their rights. This is crazy. If you got kids in the room, earmuffs, he's got some bad language, but this is his take on it.
Like these fucking people, man, these fucking people who don't step foot in the woods, right? Who don't live there, and they don't have any practical experience with this. They decide that this is a nice National Review, modern MAGA argument that they want to elicit. Like, what's the defining characteristic of MAGA, of this whole sort of, post-COVID pushback, conservative sort of thought line, small c conservative, whatever it is, all that convoy conservatism, right? It's selfishness. It's just undisguised selfishness. I want to fucking do it. I have no sense of community, no sense of obligation to my neighbors, family, friends. If it's what I want to do, well, then I'm a hero. Like, fuck you. We have obligations. We live in a society. If a place is on fire, we rally together to help them. You don't say, well, this is an abrogation of my rights. Like, just fuck right off to these people. Like, this fucking...
What do you say to that? I think we've lost Marty temporarily.
I'm going to leave and come back, Clyde. I'll come back. I'm
okay.
I'm glitching. Hang on.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. But this is absolutely it's a replay of what's happened during COVID. We saw the same behavior. You're going to kill my granny if you are able to go to the store and buy a toy for your kids, because that's labeled as unnecessary in society, or it's not. You're not allowed to go to work to do your job, to earn a living, because you are not a what's the term? I'm now even blanking on the term because I keep hearing that unnecessary. But yeah, people are a non-essential. You're a non-essential person in our society, and so this same rhetoric is coming right back up again. People are screaming it from the hilltops, saying the exact same things. We've seen it over and over again, and it's just bloody disgusting. Here's another example of this. You guys might know, people even on the right were saying stuff like this all that time ago. Here's Mark Slapinski and what his views were during COVID.
We've had a big problem with anti-vaxxers. And I have a solution to the anti-vaxxer question. And some might even say the final solution to the anti-vaxxer question. Here's what we're going to do. Just to start, we're going to take little stickers and we're going to put them on the houses of all the unvaccinated people, just so people know who they are and where they live. And if that doesn't work, what we're going to do is take all the unvaccinated people, put them on cattle cars and ship them off to work camps. Nice, big, powerful work camps, either in Northern Ontario or in Quebec. And here's how this is going to work. We're going to force them to work, free labor, get them to build this stuff, and segregate them. So it's killing multiple birds with one stone. Not only are we taking these dirty, disgusting, unvaccinated people and removing them from society, but we're also using them to work for us. And we can even loot them and use their assets to fund other parts of society. We've had a big problem with
we can loot them and use their resources to fund other parts of society. This is the rhetoric that was actually coming out. And this is not satire. This isn't jokes. This is what actually people were saying at the time. And now we're seeing guys like this guy. Thanks to gov.exe is corrupt for all of this, by the way, posting all of this stuff on X so we have access to it and still have them. It doesn't get memory hold, but this is exactly where we're at. We're going right back to where it was where we were during COVID, and people are just turning a blind eye to it as if it never happened. And this is a whole new case, a whole new scenario, a whole new world. How do you say it to that? Now, some people just don't buy it, though. Here's a veteran that was interviewed on the streets, and he gets it, and he knows exactly what's going on here.
So was the government's treatment of the Freedom Convoy protesters justified?
No, not at all. It was Canadians standing up for their rights against the totalitarian regimes that the government was trying to bring down upon them. That thing could have ended very shortly. All Trudeau had to do was come out and talk to the protesters, but no, he had to go hide underneath his desk and suck his thumb because he was too afraid to come and talk to the people. The other political leaders came out and talked to the protesters, but Trudeau didn't because he was a coward.
Yeah. And so what does it say about our government, though, that
they're a bunch of yellow belly cowards.
Yeah.
Liberals are nothing but a bunch of jerks. Sorry, I'm largely conservative. I'm also a veteran. I'm proud to serve my country and fight for my country.
Thank you for your service.
All right? So if this is the way the government wants to treat its own people, they want to put the Freedom Convoy organizers in jail. But meanwhile, like I said earlier, child rapists, offenders, they get to walk around our bill. How many times you've read the news where you've seen repeat offenders of crimes being able to walk the street? You know, hey, how many times do I get to commit a crime? Our justice system's a joke. Two people, that couple that stood up for the rights of Canadians, all Canadians, you, and you.
Talking about Chris and
they
Tamara.
Get to go to jail, but somebody can come. And guess what? Nothing happens to them. Yeah. So guess what? Keep voting Liberal and watch this country go down the toilet. Thanks.
Keep voting Liberal and watch this country go down the toilet. What great advice from that gentleman. Now, I want to get into some of the actual legal fight that's happening surrounding this. And this is a great part to get into this because we do actually have a legal fight. And we've learned a lot of lessons from the last go around. This is Christine Van Gyn. She's a lawyer in Canada who fights for our freedoms. She's been fighting for liberty for years and years and has been doing a great job about it and learning from these mistakes. She says, when safety becomes a weapon, everyone loses. Nova Scotia's forest ban is overkill and it's deja vu. It's happening now because the government got away with it the last time. This is a classic example of safetyism, a mentality where risk becomes an excuse for control, not communication. Once the government sees that overreach is workable, it's relayed every few years. I've got a report coming out soon on the government overreach in the guise of safety and how these policies expand unchecked. Stay tuned. this is just the beginning. And we've got Marty back. Marty, I'm guessing you're working now. I saw you try a couple of times.
There's a lag there. You're rubber banding.
Oh, okay. Is it okay? Do you think we can make it through?
I'm gonna log out again and restart my computer because I'm like everything's frozen right now. It looks garbage. There's a major storm going outside my house is what's happening.
Okay. Maybe try restarting your router as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Well, I'll just keep talking
back.
until you
I'll
get
make
back.
the chat. I'll be there for the chat no matter what.
Absolutely. All right. So getting back to this is Christine Van Geyn saying, yeah, there is a fight and there's a fight on its way. We are not going to put up with this. And again, we've learned some lessons. And one of the lessons was from Jeff Evely, who's a veteran, who's, fought for Canada, fought for us overseas, and he's fighting for us here. Last time I've submitted an application for judicial review of that same order on the charter and human rights grounds. The court refused to grant me standing, stating that I was not fined. Therefore, I was not impacted. How ridiculous is that? All these court cases that came out of Canada where people were suing because they were being restricted on their travel. And the government just came back and said, well, you didn't actually try to travel. So I guess the case is moot. You haven't gone through anything actually. So Jeff here says, I argued that expecting Nova Scotians to risk a $25,000 fine was unreasonable, that having to commit the act of hiking in order to find out whether it was legal was Kafkaesque, aka Stalinist. It looks like I will be incurring a $25,000 fine. Do you have any recommendations for how I can obtain legal representation? And I'm sure there's all kinds of organizations that will do that for Jeff. Now, this is Jeff Evely, and this was him going in to get his fine. He literally went walking into the woods right in front of these officers. He went in and he talked to them to make sure that, everything's cool. He's not trying to attack them. He just wanted to get his fine and go. This is a video of him doing exactly that.
Okay, so I'm ordering you to not.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I understand.
Roger
that.
I'm doubling fines right now.
Okay, that sounds good.
All right.
So he lays it out at the beginning here. Sorry, he lays it out at the beginning saying that he just wants to get a fine and then go. He's not really trying to cause any trouble for them.
No, not bad. I'm Jeff Evely. I called earlier.
Evely?
Yeah, Evely. I spoke to somebody earlier.
Yep.
About the woods ban.
Yep.
And I understand that you guys issue $25,000 fines right now for anybody who goes in.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to go in the woods over here.
Yeah.
I don't want to make any trouble for you guys. Okay, I took this to court the last time they did it. They said I didn't have standing because I wasn't fined, so there was no money involved.
Okay.
So I want to challenge this order in court, and the only way for me to do that is to get the fine. So I'm not trying to make trouble for you guys. Okay, I just want a piece of Tim Houston, and I want to be as accommodating and nice as I can be. I'm just gonna.
Okay, so I'm ordering you to not.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I understand. Roger that.
Roger that. Of course. Yeah, they have to say that. And they go along with it. He goes out and he literally enters the woods. This is where he gets his fine for doing this.
I don't know that there's a good spot to do this, but I'm just going to make this as painless as I can for those guys and go in here. And they have me on camera as well, walking in the woods. All right, isn't this great? And maybe there's an easier way out of here than I came in.
It's easy once you're in the woods. It's getting through the brush at the tree line.
We good? Okay.
So then he goes back and he gets his fine with them. He waits around for a while. They hand him his fine, and he gets fined. Other things were added to the fine, making it a grand total of $28,872.50, which is just absolutely outrageous. But this is what's going on, and he had to do this because he can't go and sue the government if he hasn't experienced the fine. So this is the reason why he's doing this. It's commendable. Absolutely. Does it take guts to do this? Yes. Yes, it absolutely does. People were offering to pay his fine. But I don't think that's the purpose here. You don't want to pay the fine. You just want to fight the fine, and you want to fight the fine on the grounds that the government has no right to do this. Constitutional grounds, the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, but that's where he's standing, and I gotta give him credit where credit's due. He's really putting his money where his mouth is, literally. Marty, are we good? Are you back?
I can hear everything perfectly. Finally, what a frustrating. I think I'm being shadow banned. We must have used some bad words, and the government decided to shadow ban me. By the way, that clip of Jeff, you and I met Jeff, right? Remember he came last year to there was
Unify, which is coming up soon. We're going to be doing that again in September. That's going to be great. Sign up. By the way,
there was so people don't know who Jeff is. Like obviously, not everybody knows. He's a veteran. He's not a make believe soldier. He's a veteran. He actually served 5 or 6 different tours, including Afghanistan, Iraq, Kosovo, all sorts of places. So he's got experience defending our rights and freedom. And interestingly, there was a doctor this week that criticized him and saying that he was disrespecting the frontline workers, the firemen who were fighting the fires. And people came over the top on that doctor saying, do you have any idea what you just said? Like, Jeff is you think Jeff is disrespecting frontline workers? You're disrespecting him. Our government is disrespecting Jeff and people like him who fought for the actual freedoms that we take for granted. So if Jeff, I've been accused of being selfish for demanding that my rights be respected. You probably have too, right? That's a popular thing. The left says, "Oh, you guys are so selfish. You want your rights respected." Yeah, damn right, I want my rights respected.
What's more selfish than expecting people's rights to be trampled on for a little bit of safety?
Exactly. And so people were accusing Jeff of being selfish. I'm like, he's the only one I know who's actually fought for your rights. Like of all the people who are allowed to criticize the government, he's one of them. Man, what a nut world we live in. It's I see it all through the comments. Everybody's saying it. Yes, folks, we live in a crazy world, crazy country, crazy country. World. Yeah.
And this crazy country is not looking to fix anything when it comes to trade as well. This is the craziest part. Now, I pontificated and I put out the idea that Mark Carney is using this one as a political move. This is completely a political move. Sabotage the trade relations with the United States, with China, with everybody, it looks like at this point, so that there will be a crisis, because the liberals can only rule under crisis. And they'll only keep their position under some sort of crisis. So why not exacerbate the crisis that's already on hand right now and make it much worse? So Jasmine Lane did an interview with a U.S. ambassador to Canada, and this is a really good clip because he basically comes out and he dispels a lot of the myths that are perpetrated by the mainstream media, a lot of the talking heads. That Canada's doing everything it can and Canada's a good actor. No, Canada's not been a good actor. This has been a really bad show. So here's this clip here.
I would maybe add, we've been nicer to Canada at this point than Canada has been to the U.S.
Would you say from what you're seeing, what you're hearing, is there any areas in Canada that have made the current negotiation approach harder to reach a mutually beneficial agreement?
Oh, yeah. I think some of the retaliatory tariffs to the U.S. are a huge irritant. we have protected the integrity of Kuzma. Okay.
And take note that he even says Kuzma to a Canadian audience. It's the USMCA. I just don't understand why they keep calling it that.
Our negotiators have said we are not going to implement tariffs on any products that are covered under Kuzma. Canadians have said, well, those guardrails are off. I think since April, they have been tariffing U.S. products that are part of the Kuzma agreement. Okay, the products that are covered under Kuzma are, they're going into the U.S. tariff-free, and the ones going north are covered or now have this, I think, 25% tariff on them. Okay, and so what it means is, I know from American companies, they're saying, hey, we're basically going into Canada and we can't sell because we've got a 25% tariff, while our Canadian competitors are coming into the U.S. with no tariffs at all. You put that together with the actions of your provinces, where they're saying, in certain cases, they're saying, all right, we're going to first buy product from our province. If the product from our province is not available, we are going to buy Canadian. If there's not a Canadian product available, we're going to buy international. And if there's not an international product available, then we may finally consider buying American, or maybe not buying at all. Okay. I think, you know, that the Canadians have gone on those issues, they've gone significantly further than where the U.S. has gone. Canada is calling into question the future of Kuzma. It's not the United States of America. It's Canada.
It's Canada. And this is the reality. I've been screaming this from the hilltops. Canada has not been right on trade. Canada has been a bad player on this whole trade thing. We're not seeing really much different rhetoric depending on the parties involved that are talking about this. It's all largely the same thing. We're going to put retaliatory tariffs on the United States if they do anything. And the retaliatory tariffs are much more severe and go against, as you heard, the USMCA. They go against it. And this is well, we talked about this last time you were on as well, with the the Mark Carney coming out in support of Palestine and declaring that it's going to be just before the negotiations took place, or just before the deadline. It seems like they're literally trying to sabotage any sort of form of trade deal. This is while the rest of the world is moving on and the trade deals are going forward.
Well, you nailed it 2 weeks ago when you brought up the fact that that Carney and the Liberals, they're sabotaging not just the relationship with the U.S. They're sabotaging a whole bunch of things. They've been failures for a decade, and rather than admit that they were wrong about things and just pivot and correct them, they're going to continue down this path of wrecking stuff, because right now they got a boogeyman down south. They're going to blame everything on Trump. I think you were, I picked up on what you said when you said that 2 weeks ago. I tweeted about that, and everybody agrees. There's solid agreement that there's nothing, it's what's the theory? Like, what did Sherlock Holmes say? Like, when you've exhausted every other theory or possibility, then what's left is the reality. Like, the Liberals are sabotaging the country. Like, why? That's a whole different question. I don't know if it's a why. I don't know if it's because they're controlled by the WEF. I don't know if it's Brookfield. I don't know why. But there's no other conclusion that they're sabotaging the country.
Well, the simple answer is that they know that that's a political win for them.
Yeah.
They know that they can use the paid media. CBC, all the other big outlets are paid by the government. This with subsidies. They can use this to get another political win. They can hold power. And like, it's cynical, and it's the simplest answer without adding in, other worldly powers or things like that. It's the simplest answer. They're just trying to hang on to power, and it's a political tool they know will work.
Yeah. Like, I don't know what made me think of this. It's related to this. I want to bring this up, right? I tweeted last week or this week a little bit, like the signs are we are losing the trade war right now. We're losing the trade war. Like I mean, both sides are taking casualties, but we are losing, right? And the evidence is mounting. And who's losing? It's not Carney who's losing. It's you and me. It's us, right? I mean, I'm having to renew cars right now. I got an old car. I got to replace my car. It's the last thing I want to do is replace a car. So I went and looked at cars. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the dealership told me, listen, he's like, Marty, the 2025 models, I got none left on my lot. Okay. I got none. I got a few, but if you want one, you better take whatever's left, because next month when the 2026s come out, he's already been told they're going to be 7 to 10% more expensive than the 2025 models because the tariffs are kicking in.
Mm-hmm.
Ford, GM, and Chevy didn't take a loss, but they took a profit loss. They absorbed the tariffs right now. The tariffs that have hit the parts on autos and everything else for the last 3 months, they absorbed it, but they can't anymore. They're like, we gotta pass on the cost to consumers. So we're gonna get hit, and we're losing this trade war. Carney's doing nothing, and we're the ones taking it on the chin. And we're literally, Canadians by the millions are taking it on the chin without fighting. I mean, we'll keep doing what we're doing. We got to keep doing what we're doing, Clyde, but we need help, folks. Like, you guys need to get vocal, mad, pissed off, and call your politicians and say, this is nuts.
The problem is, though, is people are taking out on the wrong things. So here's the thing. The automotive industry in Canada is, we can only thank the United States for that existing in Canada. It's only there. It's only there because of overflow of work, available work. It flowed into Southwestern Ontario. I even tweeted about this the other day because I wanted people to be certain where I stood on this one. I said Canada manufactures automobiles despite never actually having started any of the companies that produce cars and trucks. Canadians and the communities that surround these factories benefit from the economic activity that this industry creates. Thank you, America. This would be the start. This would be the start. To have this attitude to say, thank you, America. But what are Canadians, what are they saying right now? They're saying, screw you. You're trying to take our things. You're trying to take stuff from us. And like the average American is looking at it like, wait a second. Why do we even manufacture in Canada? Why do we still have those plants there? If our automotive industry retracted or contracted, became smaller, why didn't the Canadian plants move to America before anything else shut down? And that's a very viable argument coming from people in the United States to say, if anyone's going to have to take this one on the chin, how about it be the foreigners that hate us, that boo our audience, or boo our hockey teams and boo our national anthem and say all these bad stuff about us. Let's bring all that back. And this is what the tariffs are effectively doing, because
that's exactly what they're doing. Absolutely.
They're getting those companies to go, you know what? It would be way cheaper if we just took all the tooling here and shipped it. Guess what? All throughout the 90s, they developed a whole industry. There's an industry surrounding packing up capital,
dismantling plants,
and moving it to another place.
Yes.
They're fully capable of doing it. Now, mind you, that used to be Detroit, where they were taking out of the capital and moving it to Mexico. But now they're using that same industrial process to take that stuff out of Southwestern Ontario and move it to Toledo, to move it to Detroit, to move it to Cleveland. Like, this is what's happening. Wake up, Canada.
We're in violent agreement. I mean, what Carney's doing right now, if anybody in the elbows up crowd thinks that Carney's protecting the auto industry, everything he's doing right now is counterproductive, and he's destroying the auto industry in this country. And then, in a couple of years from now, those cars will all come from the U.S. They'll be assembled in the U.S., sold in the U.S. Tariffs will be irrelevant to Americans, and they'll be able to charge us whatever the heck they want for a car. Like, God. Yeah, so I got to get on that dealership lot tomorrow and go find a car. I'll take whatever you got, buddy. I'll take that pink one over there that nobody wants, because, like, man, I hate buying cars. I hate buying cars. But they've also made it hard to own in my province. Anyways, they made it hard to own an older car too. Like, we're getting shot in we're getting we're getting hammered on every side. You know, like I'm a retired guy who can maintain a car, but I'm not a certified mechanic. So now my cars are 12 years old, and to get them reinsured, I got to get my cars inspected. And that's anyways, that's a whole different topic. So yeah,
I know all about it.
Yeah.
that's my wheelhouse. That's what I do for a living. But you know what? As they reel out all of these things, like the electric mandates, which is essentially, it's just a quota system on internal combustion engine cars, which is gonna be so corrupt. And people, like, I'm making these predictions, and people are like, no, it's not gonna be that bad. You have no idea how bad it could get. It's gonna be like Soviet, like buying a Lada. It's gonna be something else. But that's where we're going. That's where we're going with the automotive industry. Good luck with it. Get yourself a used car ASAP, or a 2025, because 2026 is gonna be just impossible.
and make friends with mechanics.
That's always been the case. I had to change my phone number when I got my license.
Oh, really? Too many friends calling? Or actually, if you want to make
old friends,
if you want to make friends, and you have a little shop at home or a little garage, buy a tire changing machine. Then you'll make friends real fast.
No kidding.
Yeah.
No kidding. You would. I wonder what. Yeah. You could buy a used one pretty cheap. Either way. Is there anything else you wanted to cover this week? I went over a lot of the different things. I know we could get into there was the Chinese tariffs that hit us just recently. That's going to hit us pretty hard, especially for the prairie provinces. You know, canola is a pretty big one. China just announced 75.8% tariffs on Canadian canola. That's not good. That's and especially for, and I guess I'm going to say this again and again and again, but if this doesn't convince Alberta and Saskatchewan to get the hell out of Canada, I don't know what does. Bad negotiations from Ottawa internationally are affecting local products in the prairies. That sucks. That's got to be really hard.
Well, we'll talk, just because I'm an Albertan, I'll talk about that separatist movement. It regained momentum. It had stalled a little bit, but then it regained momentum in the last couple of weeks, which is good to see. I went to an Alberta Prosperity Project event on Monday night in Caroline, Alberta, a town of 447 people. It's a hamlet. It's not even a village. It's a hamlet. And there was about 300 people that came out at the town hall out of 450 people in town. 350 people came out. It was crazy. And the first question Jeff and them asked is like, who here has already decided that they want an independent Alberta? Every hand except maybe 5 went up. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah. It's good. And you had Keith on the show. You've had others on the show. So we'll keep talking about that one. But it's good to see what's happening here in Alberta. I'm optimistic.
Yeah, look forward to that, everybody. I just before going camping, Jeff Rath called me on the phone. He said, we got lots to talk about, so I'm gonna come on your show. So that'll be coming up real soon. So yeah, look forward to that. But apart from this, stick around for the comment section. This is, of course, the live stream portion of the show. If you're watching this after the fact, you gotta join us live. Live is the best time to join, because we do a Q&A at the end, and we go for, I don't know, however long it goes. So Marty, where can people find you?
Marty Up North on Twitter. It's almost the only place I'm on these days. I still have a YouTube channel, but I'm kind of shutting that down. So hey, logistic questions for you. So because we did something new, so I was able to stream this on Twitter. Do you want me to stop streaming it on Twitter now?
You did when you exited out. So that,
but then I restarted. So I don't know. So but when we go to the question period, I'll shut it off, right?
Yeah. I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, let me shut it off just to be. We were live up until. And I think that was one of the reasons also I was losing connectivity. That thing might be
sucking it out,
up a lot of my data. Yeah, doing something. Anyways, I'm disconnected now.
All right.
Cool. All right.
Well, yeah, if you're watching this afterwards, if you're watching this after the fact, join us live. That is the time. It's at 6:30 Pacific time. That's 9:30 Eastern every Wednesday. I also do a Friday show, so check that out as well.